Well, hello and welcome to the latest Coffee Club, the Scottish Sun's podcast for the new season. I'm Robert Grieve, Chief Football Writer of the Scottish Sun. With me, as always, Bill Leckie, the voice of Sunsport, as we call him. And it's been a busy week so far. We're gearing up to the start of the Premiership season on Saturday, over the weekend, in fact Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday as well. Bizarrely.
Right over the weekend.
Right over the weekend, a weekend of football. We're looking forward to it. I'm certainly looking forward to the start of the season, Bill. But first things first, we're going to come to a big week for Rangers again. We spoke about them last week. Their chairman, John Bennett, finally came out, broke cover and decided to address the fans on the situation, mainly on the situation that Rangers having Ibrox closed, or they're renting out Hampden for the foreseeable future. And I'm not sure what he said, Bill, would have given the Rangers fans too much comfort. What did you make of it?
Well, there's now a new word in the Rangers fans' vocabulary, which is caveat, which he used about 114 times, meaning basically, I don't know what's happening. You know, so it was, I'm sorry to put so many caveats into my statement, meaning I'm trying to tell you, but I don't really know what's happening. This whole thing, we might be back in for the middle of September, but then again we might not be. We might be able to tell you later on this week where you're sitting at Hampden, but you know, don't stand by your beds for it. All very unsatisfactory, I would say, if you're a Rangers fan.
That's the thing, he spoke, I think, for 22 minutes.
Yeah.
I think, I'm led to believe the interview was done while the team, the club were in Germany at the weekend for their friendly match with Union Berlin. I was there. The team actually played pretty well from middle to front, certainly. But he had a long enough time to think about what he was going to say. Did he just not get the tone right, or did he just miss the point, or do you think?
Well, two things. I genuinely don't think they know what's happening.
Yeah.
Genuinely don't think so. But I don't think he wants to say that I don't know what's happening, because that would send out a bad message. And I'm not sure he's experienced enough in football terms, maybe in business terms.
He's a successful businessman.
He is a very successful businessman, but football's a very different, as we know, very different business. You can couch business talk in business language, and you can use caveats and and clauses and
pinch points,
all that stuff. But in football, you got to say, this is what's happening. Or we don't know what's happening, but we will tell you as soon as you know what's happening. But it's all very round the houses, and as we talked about last week, Rangers fans were already saying, when's somebody going to tell me where I'm sitting?
I think
I bought a season ticket. There was no caveats when you bought your season ticket. There was no, well, we'll give you your money back if you're not happy with it. There's no caveat. You pay your money and that's it. And they still don't know where they're sitting. They still don't know how long they're going to be sitting there for. It's not good enough.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. If you've got a season ticket holder behind the goals in the Cotland Road stand at Ibrox, that's a good seat. I would have thought it's a good seat.
But it's not a good seat at Hampden.
It's not a good seat at Hampden if you're just going to throw up at Hampden Park
and you're below the level of the goals.
So it'll be very interesting to see how they do it. Listen, it's a difficult situation for them.
Very difficult.
We mentioned this last week, the problems they've got in terms of getting delivery. The steel that they ordered, James Bisgrove leaving at the same time he was maybe his eye on other things, but I don't know, it's a very difficult situation for them again. But in this situation, as always, it seems as though the fans are the ones who have to pick up the pieces for it. Last week the club was trying to sell their new third kit, all very well and good. Fans are continually asked to go and spend their money because the clubs know they will spend the money. But when it comes to things like this, it's like just kick the can down the road and we'll see what happens.
They took 7,000 fans down to Birmingham last week. I don't know how many were in Berlin at the weekend.
Maybe not as many as that, but there was a healthy Rangers crowd in Berlin.
It's not as if you're dealing with 300 people and saying, look, we can make this work somehow. It's a massive support who keep, let's face it, who keep the club alive by buying those tickets. Because if Rangers crowds dropped off by 5,000-10,000 every week, it would make a huge difference to the Rangers income as opposed to, for instance, the Celtic income.
Yeah, I can certainly understand the angst, no doubt about that. One of the things that John Bennett did speak about, though, was the kind of player trading model and how that has to change for the club, and he has a point there. I mean, when you look at other clubs, we don't have to look very far, albeit, Celtic last season spent a considerable amount of money
on not very much
on projects, and they've got their money to be able to do that. But Bennett's right, isn't he? John Bennett's right that they have to look to change their policy in terms of what they bring in.
Yeah, well, you look at how many players leave Rangers where their contracts have been run down and they don't get a penny. You know, they talked for a while about how much they were going to get for Morelos, how much they're going to get for Ryan Kent, and then the contracts just run down, and it's not good enough. You know, you can't be spending out £7 million on a Ryan Kent
getting none of it
and
back,
paying X amount of wages every week and getting nothing back on it at the peak of his career. It's not good enough.
And in fairness, that's one of the things that Philip Clement, I think, for day one has addressed. He's been very clear about that policy doesn't work. It's not sustainable.
But he has worked the complete opposite way all his career. He's been getting them in young, getting them trained up, getting them sold on as quickly as possible. The model that Celtic have tried to copy off the likes of Ajax and Southampton and Brighton, who are very successful at that, and that's what I think that's what Clement would want to do. As I say, I was at the Union Berlin game in Berlin at the weekend. I actually thought Rangers were really good, middle to front. The real kind of intensity going forward. I thought they looked pretty sharp, but defensively conceded 4 goals. I think that's 10 goals they've conceded in their 4 pre-season friendlies. The last 4 pre-season friendlies. That's not good enough. What do you see as the problem in defence?
Central defence. I mean, in saying that, James Tavernier, I rate James Tavernier highly. I think he's done a tremendous job for Rangers in his time at the club, but it's as poor as I've seen Tavernier in a Rangers jersey. He's clearly not.
His head somewhere else.
He's clearly not fully fit, but there you go. That's there's got to be a question mark there, and whether how he's thinking about things ahead of the new season. But certainly he get hooked after about 60 minutes. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but.
And that's not happened very often in his career, is it?
Taken off, Leon King went to right back. The young 19-year-old kid that came on for Union Berlin gave him a lot of time, and it's a situation where that has to be looked at. I think Sterling, Dujon Sterling, is a really good player.
Who can play in 2 or 3 different positions.
I think if and when Tavernier leaves the club, for me, Dujon Sterling's the guy who'll play right back, and I think that'll be a good move for Rangers. So that's something we need to watch in the next few days, but it's unlikely.
Here's a question.
Tavernier will be the guy starting against Hearts the weekend.
If Tavernier was to go, and you suddenly lose. Now, it's okay saying we sold a striker. You know, any club sells a striker, you lose. Ross County sells Simon Murray, they lose 23 goals. Rangers get rid of a right back, they're going to lose 23 goals. You know, where did they get those goals back from?
Well, Cyril Dessers scored, I think it was 23 goals last season. He got 2 goals at the weekend, and we spoke to him after the game, and he was in good form. He's a great guy. He speaks really well, really likeable guy, and he's very much making it clear that he's happy at Rangers, that he's settled in Glasgow, and that he very much doesn't want to go anywhere. But you certainly have to think that's an area that Rangers will be looking to strengthen also.
There's also the fact that it does quite often take into a second season before you see the best of a player. Last season there was times when Dessers just looked like a hopeless case. He just didn't have the touch, he didn't have the pace, he didn't have the finishing ability, and yet, as you say, he still came out the season
numbers were good
with good numbers. So maybe this season you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, let's see how he hits the ground.
There's certainly an argument to say that he fulfilled his end of the bargain. The Rangers last season by getting the goals, and the Rangers failure last season was the fact that there weren't enough players chipping in from other areas in the team. You look at the Celtic team, the goals from all positions in the pitch virtually, and Rangers just didn't have that. Listen, there's been a bit of talk again about Lawrence Shankland. I'm not sure what to make of it. In all honesty, John Bennett, as we spoke about earlier on, is talking about the policy that Rangers have to adapt or adopt now in terms of bringing players in that they can have a value, that they can move on.
Which Lawrence isn't going to have.
Lawrence Shankland isn't that. What he is though is a proven goal scorer in the Scottish Premier League.
Yes.
He's now an international player. Can you see that happening? I'm not so sure it will happen, but
I've looked at it over the last 2 or 3 windows and thought, why haven't either Rangers or Celtic gone and got him? Because he's the best finisher there is, and domestically in Scotland. And you think, for the money you have to pay for him, less than, say it was Celtic, it'd be less than they would pay for one of these wingers they've had that have just disappeared again. Rangers could have got him for less than they paid for maybe a Lammers or a Danilo. And I think it'd have been a great investment for either, but the more it goes on, the less you think that it's going to happen. And that maybe if he's going to go somewhere, he would take a payday somewhere abroad.
But from a Rangers point of view, as I say,
that'd be a great signing.
It would be a great signing for the here and now.
Yes, but he's not got a sell-on value.
And are they going to spend £3 million on Lawrence Shatland if that's what Hearts are asking for?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No.
We'll watch that one. We'll see how that one develops in the next few days and few weeks, obviously. Yeah, it was just a watching brief on that one. I was going to talk to you next, Bill, about Partick Thistle.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, I probably shouldn't laugh. In fact, I definitely shouldn't laugh. A very serious story, this one. They're in the League Cup at the weekend. They're playing Motherwell. 0-0. They're playing pretty well. Young Mason McCready in goals, outstanding.
Really delighted for that boy.
Delighted for the boy. Outstanding. Keep them in the game. They've got to make a substitution. Young Rico Diak on the pitch. Young forward. Real talent. Really coming through. And they've stopped from doing it. Some of their football isn't the greatest, but the controversy that Scottish football throws up every now and again is world class. And as I say, as much as I'm laughing about it at the start there, you've got to feel for Partick Thistle. So, it's appalling, is it not?
There's a bit of a scandal brewing here, right? And it's just starting to bubble under. And this might be the mistake that brings it to the surface. There's a new system called Comet that the SFA have issued, and everybody from public parks to Premiership are having to use this, and you have to fill in everything online now on this PDF form. And you're putting in everything, you're putting in the time of the game, the weather expected, everything's right in there, plus your team sheets. Now, everybody I've spoken to, I was at East Kilbride a week back on Saturday, they were complaining there that it's almost impossible to fill in. Someone I know who works with a junior club in Fife got in touch with me on Friday to say, we've got 4 players that we physically can't get their names to register on here. The SFA then put out a memo to all non-professional clubs on Friday saying, right, to get through this weekend you can play 8 trialists. Just go and fill your boots and we'll sort it out later. And then this happens with Partick Thistle. Now, although it's not the system itself, it's the fact that the 4th official's using a screen grab off an app rather than standing with a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You know, and now I understand about trying to streamline and again it's maybe a bit like VAR, it might take 3 months to settle in, whatever. But there's nothing wrong with having a backup of a sheet of paper. So if the 4th official then went, hold on a minute, let me look at this. Let me look at this actual yellow team sheet here and go,
put it
Rico
on,
Diak, he's there.
Put it on the app later. You know, fill in the digital version later on. It just seems madness, Bill.
So Partick Thistle now want the game, as we're speaking, want the game replayed. I would imagine, knowing our authorities, that's highly unlikely to happen. But they've got a very good case, because who knows, they're looking for a goal to put them through. Diak might be the guy who comes on and scores the goal, who knows?
Absolutely.
So there's a great unknown in there. Now they were able to play another substitute, but not the one they wanted to play. I don't think they'll get it replayed, but I think they have a case, and I think this might be one that there'll be other people now start coming forward saying, oh, Comet, wait till I tell you about this.
Yeah, listen, mistakes happen, but there's always consequences when it's the SFA dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know, Cove Rangers the other week, they play a player they shouldn't play.
And they're hit.
They're hammered for it. In the pocket, they lose the game 3-0. There's a consequence.
No, people have lost their jobs over the years.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen.
No, I don't mean at SFA level. I mean, if you think back to, come back 20 odd years, Falkirk played John Clark against St Mirren. Shouldn't have played, wasn't registered. They were fined 25,000. They ended up sacking Alec Taunton off the back of this.
That's right.
Because he basically took the can for it. So there has to be an element of somebody at SFA level taking responsibility for this.
Yeah, well, I think Willie Collum, by all accounts, has been in touch with Partick Thistle to try and get the referee side of it across. I can't actually get a bit of sympathy for Willie Collum. He's in the job 5 minutes, but this is the sort of stuff he's going to have to deal with, and
I think he'll deal with it very well.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that. I was going to say you're a big fan of Willie Collum, but you haven't always been a big fan of Willie Collum.
I've not always been a fan of Willie Collum's style as a referee.
In fact, you've been rather critical of Willie Collum.
And we have discussed this in the past. I always felt that when Willie allowed emotions to get to him, he lost his ability as a referee. He used to get a bit card happy. He used to do the old running across with it, already grabbing for the red card. However, his knowledge of refereeing, his knowledge of people is fantastic. His day job as an inspector in schools and a former school teacher brings him into this job, and it's almost a transfer of skills from being a schools inspector to being a referees inspector. Now I know that he's already gone in there and he's started telling people this is how it's going to work. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you this is going to how it work, which isn't how it worked before with Crawford Allen. It wasn't like that. It was kind of, well, whatever the SFA say, let's just make it happen. Well, he's going in and said, no, this is what is going to happen, and I think he will be a big success in this job.
It's a big job, though, isn't it? I mean, it's
massive.
I mean, it comes with the baggage of being a referee.
Yep.
Fans have got their opinion of Willie Collum, rightly or wrongly.
Yep.
Even guys in the media have their opinion.
Yep.
We've all watched them. You form an opinion how you think he is a referee. It's a huge job for him to go in there and get things right. The whole VAR situation, which the version that we have in Scottish football is difficult for everyone, not least the referees.
Yeah, he has promised that VAR is going to be now not used for the establishment, for the establishment's benefit, but for the game's benefit.
Yeah.
And that's a simple switch round. So you make it, you keep it out of the game as much as possible, you make it as quick as possible, you communicate as well as you can, and if he does that, if he gets that through to referees and to fourth officials and to the VAR officials back in the studio, it'll change things very quickly.
Yeah, well, I for one wish Willie Collum well. I think it's a good appointment, and I think hopefully his profile might do the referees a world of good. He's got a vast amount of experience here, and we've got a lot of young referees coming through. I've often been quick to criticise referees down the years, or one or two a good number of years ago who took exception to one or two things that I wrote. I'll not go there. But no, I actually wish him well, and I think he will do a good job. Listen, before we go, we'll be much longer here, but you were away with St Mirren last week. We spoke about this.
Yeah.
I was very jealous of you in Iceland, Reykjavik. You didn't see a goal. Should you have done?
Oh my goodness.
St Mirren drew nothing each. Valur, the game, second leg tomorrow night.
Stephen Robinson was absolutely right. It could have been 6-3 St Mirren, 7-3 St Mirren. It could have been maybe 5-3 the other way around. St Mirren, let's say St Mirren, we are we. Okay.
Call them St Mirren, be professional, Bill. For once in your life.
Missed 4 really big chances in the first half. Another couple of chances in the second half. I mean, proper chances, right through on the goalkeeper type chances. But at the same time, Ellery Balcom, the boy that Stephen Robinson's brought in from Brentford, made 3 or 4 outstanding saves. One in the second half. Gylfi Sigurdsson's hit one on the run from the edge of the box. It's right in the top corner, and he's a proper big TV save. He's a giant boy, Balcom, and he's flicked it over the bar with the fingertips. It was a smashing game of football, and it was a brilliant night. It was a brilliant night. St Mirren turned up at the stadium 90 minutes before the game. All the fans had walked from the middle of town up to the stadium and waited for the team to come off the bus, cheered them in. St Mirren had 200 official fans, about 500 eventually went, and Valor were brilliant because some of them had bought tickets locally, and Valor said no, we don't want you spread around the ground, and so made extra space for St Mirren supporters in the main stand, so they were all together. Their hospitality was brilliant. They're actually, they played themselves down. Arnar Grettersson, the coach, played them down. Well, we're only part-time, blah blah blah. They're a decent team, and I don't think this tie is anything like over at all.
Never mind that. How much was it a pint?
Well, if you follow the chain of happy hours in Reykjavik, you can cut it down to about $7.50. Normally it's about £11, but they do. The pubs, I think, maybe we'll have committee meetings and say, right, we'll have happy hour from 4 till 5, we'll do 5 till 6, we'll all the way through.
Joined up thinking.
Joined up
drinking.
Publicans of Scotland, unite.
Joined up drinking, I like that. You think they're going to get through in a word, St Mirren? Yes. Heart rolling head there.
Yes. Okay.
What about Kelly? I was delighted for them.
Ah, brilliant.
They're a good team. Circle Bruges. Kelly go to Belgium today. They're playing tomorrow night. Kenny MacDonald is covering the game for us. The best coverage in the Scottish Sun. That's going to be a real difficult one. One each draw.
I mean,
decent enough result first leg, but up against it.
Circle are going to be happy with that result.
Yeah, big time.
I loved the way Kelly came straight out the traps from kick-off and went. It was a very much a Derek McInnes. Get the ball forward, go chasing it, pen them into the box. They had a shout for a penalty in the first 10 seconds. Yeah. It was never a penalty, but they had a shout for it.
They shouted for it.
They shouted for it, and kept that pressure on. And I liked the fact that when they went behind, smashing goal, Circle scored, great finish, that they didn't stop. And Kelly are always going to be dangerous from set pieces and long throws, and they've got a couple of boys with amazing long throws. And the goal was typical because although Kyle Vassell's header's not going in, David Watson's thrown himself in behind as a nuisance, and it's come off the top of his head, and it's a messy goal, but it's quite a Kilmarnock goal. And if they can get one of those over there, keep themselves in the game, who knows?
Yeah, I think Derek McInnes will love the fact that you're describing them as a long ball team who play messy football.
I did not say that.
For me, they play very attractive football.
I love Kelly's football.
They get out wide, get down the flanks.
You're a cheeky man sometimes.
I'm a cheeky man, but no, generally...
I think Kelly, but let's not kid ourselves. If I remember last season, St Mirren went down 2-0 up, lost 5-2, and Kilmarnock just turned up the bully factor, and they're brilliant at that. And that's
they're now bullies now.
Well, they can bully.
Right, okay.
They can bully, but they're a terrific football team.
I think they're a terrific football team, and I certainly wish them well, even if you don't.
Derek. You know Derek.
If you don't wish them well, I certainly do. Like, before we tuck into these cakes, prediction time. With the start of the season, a couple of days away, it's what the fans always love, what they always annoy us with. Predictions that come back and say, so I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to go Celtic to win the league. I think Brendan Rodgers' side will be too strong for anyone else in the division. I don't think that's breaking news, but I'm going to go for that. In terms of struggling, I think Motherwell and St Johnstone might have tough seasons in the Premier League, and in terms of relegation, I think it might be between either of those two. What do you think?
I agree with you on Celtic. I can't see past them winning it. I think it'll be very interesting to see how Dundee United start the season.
Yeah.
In terms of, because they've got a derby against Dundee.
They won, yeah.
I think if Dundee United don't start the season well, the fans will get very grumpy about Jim Goodwin very quickly. But I think you're right. I think St Johnstone are up against it this season. It's a very tight bottom half this season. I can't see anybody being disconnected very quickly, but I think St Johnstone and Dundee United will both have issues.
Just briefly, I mean, on Jim Goodwin, is that you're talking about? He could get a hard time quickly if things don't start well. He's done a great job there, is he not? Is he not due cut a bit of slack?
From the outside, yes. I think he's, he pulled them back round after he came in too late to save them from relegation. Really, he had a couple of months, but it was too far gone. Yeah. He got them back up. It was a bit like Derek McInnes bringing Kelly back up. It wasn't a canter, but got them where they had to be.
That league's tough.
They have made. Now it's the signings this summer. They've gone for different kind of signings. They've gone for a few guys from kind of Middle Europe, from kind of Croatia and Macedonia. The same idea as Aberdeen went along to try and get a different kind of value. And it'll be interesting to see. They took Ryan Strain from St Mirren. He got himself injured straight away. I just think I know what the fans are like there, and I think if they don't start well, I'm not saying they'll deserve it, but I'm saying they'll turn on them quickly. Yeah. And I think you're right. Craig Levein has a difficult time ahead of him at St Johnstone.
Yeah, we'll be doing the rest of the predictions of the other leagues in the paper over the weekend, so if you want to catch up with that, you can tune into the paper for that. Player wise, what do you think? Who are you expecting a big season from, player wise?
It's always difficult to say, isn't it? Because there are the obvious ones, the metronomes, your Callum McGregors, who are always going to be big players. I think it's a big season for Lauren Shankland. I think he did really well last season, but when you have that kind of season, can you kick on?
Which back-to-back seasons, really. Yeah. The season before also, his numbers were great.
But off a 31-goal season, when he's probably got a bit of a score to settle with himself that he didn't really get a chance with Scotland over the summer, it's a big season for him. But I'm just interested to see over the next. I think this is a question that we maybe talk about in 2 weeks' time when more players have arrived, because we don't really. We don't really know yet. Yeah, if Celtic were to sign Adam Idah, for instance, which I probably expect they will do, I would expect him to have a good season. Equally at Rangers, I think Mohamed Diomande, he's a good player, really good player. But I think of the ones they brought in last year, we already mentioned them. Dujon Sterling is a player. Yeah, terrific. But I, from the game, from what I've seen so far, Manchester United friendly at Murrayfield and the game in Berlin. I thought Diomande was excellent, really good. It's funny with other players. I watched Aberdeen at East Kilbride the other week, right? And the boy there they've had for a couple of years, Shaden Morris, who's been injured for most of the time, hamstring problems, came out against East Kilbride and just looked absolutely brilliant. And I spoke to him and wrote him up and said, this could be his season. Aberdeen fans straight on me, this guy's hopeless. What even? So I'm thinking I would love a player like that who's struggled for 2 years and who the fans don't rate. I would love a boy like that to have a brilliant season. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. You can
annihilate every one of us for predictions, because they're usually pretty wrong.
Absolutely.
Pretty inaccurate. But that concludes coffee.
Easy for you to say.
Concludes Coffee Cup for this week.
You go back to your Rocky Roads.
Is this what I've got? Bill's bought the cakes this week.
Yeah.
What have you gone for?
I've got a little chocolate and yoghurt flapjack.
Flapjack. They're good. Healthy for you?
Very healthy.
Healthy option.
Apart from the chocolate, but
No, I've not gone healthy. I'm going for a Rocky Road, and we'll see which teams have a Rocky Road this weekend as the season kicks off, and we'll catch you next week.